Hi, welcome to Film Studies. My name is Dan Hanlon. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a lesson taster today on film language, and we're going to be covering something called microelements, which is the components of film, the components that make up film essentially. And we're going to be working through a film clip, which is quite typical of what would happen in the first few weeks of film studies, and I'll field some questions with students. Okay, so microelements then. There are 5. Who can tell me what they are, microelements? Give me one. Start me off. Emily.
Cinematography.
Cinematography. Good. Excellent. Ben.
Editing.
Editing. Good. Ben.
Lighting.
Lighting. Yeah, lighting sometimes comes under cinematography, and lighting falls under another component, which is Alistair.
Mise en scène.
Mise en scène. Good. And so we've just got 2 left now, Felix. Sound, excellent. And just on sound, Felix, just tell me like the 2 different types of sounds that we hear in film.
Diegetic and non-diegetic.
Excellent. Diegetic and non-diegetic. Ben, can you tell me the difference between the 2?
Diegetic is part of the film, like the characters can hear it, and non-diegetic is like sound effects and like score and anything added in.
Added sound, good, excellent. And so there's just one more left then. Ruben?
Performance.
Performance, it is, excellent, well done. Okay, so we're going to explore these 5 elements through a clip from the film Raging Bull. So can you just write down for me now with your whiteboards the two elements, the 2 microelements that you are the most comfortable with at this stage, the 2 that you're most comfortable analysing and spotting in a sequence. Write them quite big, if you can, please. Okay, and if you just hold those up so I can see where people's comfort levels are with these microelements. Okay. Yeah, right, so quite a bit of variety there, Felix. All right then, so now if you do me a favour, with either the person next to you or the person next to the person next to you, can you swap your board and just make sure that you've got another element that you didn't write down that isn't your board, one that you're not comfortable with essentially. So make sure everyone's got a board with an element that they're not comfortable with. Are we there? Is that the case? Okay, great. So we're going to look at the opening to Raging Bull, which is one of the key texts in film history. It's the 3rd text after Sunrise and Singing in the Rain, and it came out in 1980. Whilst we're looking at this, so I want you to identify the 2 elements that are on your board, just one observation at least on each, but if you can get 2 or 3, even better. The other thing is when the observation has been made, what's the next thing that we need to think about once you've made the observation? So the observation is AO1. Assessment Objective 1, which is demonstrate. And then AO2. What are you doing with AO2 then, once you've made the observation? Emily?
Analysis and like coming up with the meaning behind it.
Yeah, potential meaning. So the key word is application. Analysis is fine. That works as well. Analysis and then potential meaning. And if you want a really fancy word for it, what you're always doing in film is that you're trying to look for the interpretive value of what you're seeing in front of you. So just on that board, just write this word down as a really sort of high-end fancy word. The hermeneutic value of a particular sequence. And we'll reinforce that at a later date. Hermeneutic value, interpretive value. Okay, so is everyone ready for the clip? Clip's about 3 or 4 minutes, just the opening to the film Raging Bull. And it's just that one opening shot that we saw, which is where the title sequence has come up. So it's quite a long shot, but there's a lot going on just in that one frame, really. So here we go.
thoughts. Because one night, I took off my robe, and what I do, I forgot to wear shorts. I recall every fall, every hook, every jab, the worst way a guy can get rid of his flab. As you know, my life wasn't drab. Though I'd rather hear you cheer when I delve into Shakespeare. A horse, my kingdom for a horse. I haven't had a winner in 6 months. Though I'm no Olivier, I would much rather. And though I'm no Olivier, if before Sugar Ray he would say that the thing ain't the ring, it's the play. So give me a stage where this bull here can rage, and though I can fight, I'd much rather recite. That's entertainment. That's entertainment.
Okay, so just the first few minutes of that film. Let's see what you've got now. So, Joe, which micro elements did you have down?
Museum song and performance.
Mise-en-scène and performance. Okay, can you give me an observation on either of those two elements?
So the performance, when he's like saying like that's entertainment, and it cuts to like the fighting.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like foreshadows like what might happen later on in the film with his career.
Yeah, good. Yeah, nice. So because you've got that kind of bridge between those two performances there, haven't we? So yeah, nice. That's foreshadowing in relation to performance. Good. Harry, which two elements did you have?
Performance and cinematography.
Okay, can you give me a point on cinematography because you just had performance?
When he's in the ring, the camera's at like a lower angle than he is, which could like show the audience how he's very like assertive and powerful for the rest of the film.
Yeah, good. That's really nice, Harry. Yeah, good. So the way that camera positioning is highlighting power relations within a particular frame. Yeah, that's nice. Felix, which two elements did you have?
I have
Okay, mise-en-scène then?
I was like, at the start, he's like framed in the ropes going across it, kind of reminiscent of being like trapped.
Yeah. Nice, so like he's in a cage, like through the ropes. Did you notice anything else though, Felix, with those ropes as well? When we went to the dressing room, there was something behind him, and then, go on.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Can anyone remember what was behind Robert De Niro in the dressing room, Hannah? A clothing rail. Yeah, and then what's it paralleled with in the next frame? Clothing rail to Grace?
The ring.
The ring and the rope specifically. Good. And when you get an edit that matches that image like that, what's that called? What specific kind of edit is that? Ben?
Match on action.
Yeah. Match cut. Yeah, match on action is when there's a cut in terms of someone's movement, but that's a match on action because the clothing rail essentially was then matched with the rope in a way. So it's more match cut that. Yeah, good. Emily, which two elements do you have?
Performance and editing.
Great, because we haven't had editing yet. So editing.
Like the slow motion kind of romanticises Jake's violence while he's shadow boxing.
Yeah, nice, good.
Like,
Sorry.
no, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, that's good. Yeah. So the slow motion, did you say romanticizes? Yeah. Go on, explain that to me a little bit more.
Well, like it's also got like the score behind it, it's not like it's kind of instead of just demonstrating the boxes like a brutal sport, which it is with like the blood and the violence, it's just him alone in the ring, and it's almost like graceful because of the slow motion.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So again, just the way that slow motion edit is giving it almost like a kind of a poetry to it, a romanticism. That's a really good word. Yeah. And on that point, just about just to all of you then, when he is shadow boxing in the ring, what does that suggest about Jake throughout this film? That his real opponent is Ruben? Himself, yeah, okay, throughout the movie, and maybe we don't even necessarily get that progression between this opening frame and like the last opening frame. Yeah. Alistair, mise-en-scène and editing. Take a few more points and see if anyone had any other hermeneutic value that we can take from this. But yeah, so we take mise-en-scène on that one?
Sure, yeah. So he has like an animal print. He has like an animal print robe in the opening scene,
Yeah.
which links to the ideas of him sort of being a cage performing animal.
Good.
This idea of Jake's like constantly performing like ideas of like dominant ideas of masculinity,
Yeah.
and that like it never like leads to his violent outbursts and things like that.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's great. So you've taken a piece of mise en scène there, the robe and the sort of leopard print robe, and highlighted a theme in the film, haven't you? Like masculinity and the way that this film might explore the sort of fragility of masculinity or machismo as a theme. So that's brilliant. Okay, two more then. Ben, go on.
Sound.
Sound, yeah, good.
Non-diegetic use of Calavera rusticana, which is kind of reflects Jake LaMotte's mindset in this scene, kind of how in the ring he's kind of at peace in that one moment, like because it foreshadows, and also you see in the rest of the film his kind of unruly life outside of the ring, and
Yeah.
then the lack of diegetic sound in that scene kind of reflects his kind of tunnel vision and focus on his shadow boxing, his kind of internal struggle with himself.
Yeah, brilliant. And that matches sort of Emily's point about the slow motion, so the non-diegetic sound working with that to highlight maybe like a tunnel vision, this idea of him being alone with himself. Well done for remembering Cavallari Rusticana as well. Bonus mark if you can tell me who actually composed that.
Calgary or something like that.
Calgary. Quite. Anyone? Bonus mark on that one. The composer beginning with M. Mascagni. Download it on your iPhone tonight and listen to. Okay, maybe one more point then. Hannah, just give me one more point on this then, and then see if there's any more hermeneutic value. So you had mise en scène, and what was the other one? Give me maybe another thing on editing.
At the start, when he's shadow boxing, there's just no editing because they just want you to focus on him as a character.
Yeah.
And that introduces you to the character, so you know that he's going to be in the part.
Yeah, brilliant. And then so sometimes remember with these elements, the micro elements, that it's not always about like the specific edits that are going on. So you can actually say like what's not happening sometimes. So the lack of editing, the minimal editing, is highlighting something here. So always think about, you know, how much of something we see or how little of something we see. If you've got a frame that's like filled with detail, that could be telling you something. If you've got one that's sparse, you're probably kind of getting another feeling from that or another meaning from it. Okay, just give me one more reading from this in terms of like say hermeneutic value, interpretive value. Just pick any of the elements, a couple more, and then Ruben.
I felt like the crowd on the opening bit was like fogged out, and you could only see him in the ring, you couldn't see the crowd, which could like re-emphasise that he's his main opponent and no one else.
Yeah. Brilliant, yeah. So just the fact that there's always someone looking at him, isn't there? There's always this like sense of performance, that he's performing for someone. So performance in this film is working on the level of it's De Niro playing a real character and the method and everything, but also this idea that he is, you know, having to perform for someone, which is affecting his masculinity, which we've already identified as a theme there. Good. And then one more, last one. Can I mention one more thing in terms of hermeneutic value? Ben.
Talk about when he's in the backstage area, that in the mise en scène there's like an exposed light bulb.
Yeah.
And maybe that could be like an audience, a spectator can infer, and you can kind of read that it's foreshadowing. This is going to like expose the life of Jake LaMotta. It's going to be his story. It's going to be truthful.
Brilliant. Yeah, good. So he's picking out specific object and prop there within the mise en scène, again to highlight potential theme running through it. And then Emily, lastly.
Well, the idea of like the boxing, like his violence being romanticised, is kind of reinforced when we cut to him in the 1960s because he's recounting like verse about his life as a boxer.
Yeah, brilliant. Good, and we'll end on that point and then reversed. Okay, so thanks for listening today. That was just a brief taster of film studies and typically the sort of thing that we would do in the first term of film studies, working through film clips. So I hope you got something out of that. Thank you.